Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the show that shares with you everything that should be done before saying I do. This is Before I Do, live on the Couples Academy Network. So if you are engaged, single, dating, don't know if you want to be married, out here in these streets trying to figure out exactly what is going on when it comes to engagements, we are here to help facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
Yes, and the show is meant to be interactive. Yes, so that means if we ask a question, put your business out there. Let us know. Talk to us. Give us some questions and or feedback. And so, yeah, when we pose the Speak Now Forever Hold Your Peace questions, we want to hear from you. What are your experiences? And how are you connecting with this topic tonight?
Absolutely. So everyone, welcome to the show. And tonight we have a very interesting topic. We are talking about epic proposals, rules of engagement. So we talk a lot about dating and relationships, but when you get to that place where it's time for you to actually pop the question to be married, we know that most people, they envision the wedding and what that day is like. And so Charmaine and I actually had the privilege to witness a marriage proposal live and in person this past weekend. We love doing this show. And the only thing that we love doing more than this show when we do this show is to be able to be inspired by individuals that we love as well. Yes. And so we actually got a chance to see the engagement of our good friend, Miss Tina and Mr. Frank Sanders. So congrats to you all. I see she's on the line already.
Tina.
Yes, that's her name. That's a government name.
Somebody got some secrets.
You got to know these things. Yeah, you got to know these things.
World?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the world may know her as C. Renee.
Okay, well you
yes, the world may know her as C. Renee. However, her government name, the name that was used on Saturday, is Tina.
Okay.
And so Tina and Frank actually got engaged on Saturday night, and we had again the privilege to be there in person, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
And so we actually got a couple of photos so you all can see that. This is I didn't get a chance to do my little, I know I got to do better. It starts with me, but yeah, I just had to show a little bit. Yeah. So
and it was everything.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Everything.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's one of the biggest joys, right, of the world, when you get to actually be in the atmosphere, in the environment, in the room, when you have someone declaring their love for someone else and asking them that question: would you spend the rest of your life with me? Will you do life with me?
Yeah, and so it got us to thinking, right? There's so much that's said about planning for the wedding. And of course, we really emphasize planning for the marriage. But how much planning goes into the proposal? How much planning goes into the thought process of getting ready to pop the big question? And so we wanted to explore that a little bit, and just to share a little bit about the proposal that we saw take place on Saturday. We were actually contacted by the soon-to-be groom, and he says, listen, it is my birthday, but this is something that I am purposing to do. And he actually made that a part of the proposal. He said that everything that he planned for his birthday was actually not for him, but it was with the explicit, express purpose of proposing to Miss Tina. And so I thought that was absolutely selfish, and I thought that it really helped to lay the groundwork.
Selfish or selfless?
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Selfless. That's what I meant. Thank you for the correction. I thought it was very selfless for Frank to really, again, go through all of this planning, and on the surface, making it look like it was for him to celebrate his birthday, but it was actually an engagement party specifically for Tina. So I thought it was absolutely beautiful. What were your thoughts about the night?
I thought it was beautiful too, because there were other individuals in that room that didn't know what was going on. So for them, it was a surprise too. And so, I just thought it was amazing. It was, you heard all the sound effects. You heard the gas. You heard the, you saw the scatter of everyone like grabbing their phones, and it just was amazing. But the most important part was, it's always the yes. It's always the diversity of the yes.
And that was definitely a unique yes. That was a unique yes. You remember what she said?
Oh, of course I remember what she said. It was epic.
What she said?
Epic. I'm going to let you say it.
So, see, you on the line. Go ahead and put what you said in the chat. And I have been calling this man the wrong name the whole episode. His name is not Frank. His name is Fred.
You know what? I'm questioning now if her name is really Tina. I'm just saying,
So when the proposal happened, So this young lady replied, "I will marry the crap out of you."
Yes, everything, and you better know it. You better know it.
Yes, indeed.
So, and she did, and she said that. So I loved it. It was everything.
Yeah, so we want to talk tonight again about when we look at marriage proposals, what are some of the rules and tips and things that we can use that are important to making sure that we're crafting a proposal that is going to be unique, that's going to be specific to you all as a couple. And so we're going to share some insight. We're going to actually see a couple of epic proposals as well. But as always, we want to start with our Speak Now question of the night, which our very first one is, because this is a really important part of marriage and wedding proposals, right? Is that there's this element of surprise.
Yes.
And this element of mystery when it comes to popping the question and the way it's done. So the question that we have is it important that the proposal be a surprise? And if so, why?
I think so. I think you get more of an authentic answer when it's a surprise. I think too, it is, I don't know, I think it just captures it, I don't know, just the authenticity of the person who's giving a response. You get the truth. I just feel like it's like a lie detector. You're going to get the truth in that moment because, there has been some proposals that, didn't work out very well, because of planning. Maybe the person wasn't ready, things like that. But usually people are really truthful and transparent about this, responding to this big, huge question.
Absolutely. I think that it should be a surprise. I think that it's a great opportunity for the individual that is proposing to really go through again, to lay again the foundation and the groundwork for the marriage. And, because there is a lot of coordination that takes place, not only within that individual and how well they know that person, but also how well they are able to coordinate with that person's friends, with their family. Absolutely. And so really incorporating all of those things together, which serves as a foreshadowing to the wedding as well. And so it's a lead in for that. And so I think that surprising part is really important. And so I know that when it comes to the majority of women, you said before that when it comes to the whole wedding side, that's something that you all envision. Yes. So do you all envision the proposal as well? Is that something that you all think about?
To be honest, I don't know if it's fair to say yes, but I believe so, because it's contagious. When you witness someone being proposed to, it puts us back into into that moment. It's the sound effect. It is the most attractive thing to see a person declare their love in front of everyone they care about. They are being vulnerable in that moment. They don't care who's watching. They are saying, I choose you. I picked you. I love you. And you are the one who I want to carry my last name. You are the one who I want to be, to just do life with. And I absolutely believe that for women, we envision it, like what that ideal romantic experience would be. However, I believe we're open. We're open to, whatever that surprise element will be.
And it does seem that way. I will say that whereas when it comes to the wedding, you all seem to be very specific about exactly what you want your wedding to look and feel and sound like. On the proposal side, you all are, it seems that no matter who the woman is, you all are very open to the surprise.
Absolutely.
And excited about how it's going to be done. And so I know that as a man, that's something that I take a lot of pride in. I think we take a lot of pride in the proposal aspect and it being something that shows our worth as I love you, I value you, and I know you. It's an opportunity for us to really show that we love you, that we know you.
It is the public declaration of your love that will get us anytime. And so as long as you asking the question and you got some jewelry along with that question, we're happy.
We got a gang of comments that are pouring in. Curtis Grimes says, Carlene, his wife, and he will be married, celebrating 24 years of marriage tomorrow. Marriage is a joyous occasion when you do life the right way.
You better say it again, the right way. And happy anniversary.
Yes,
24. Yes.
We got my homegirl Nicoya. Nicoya says she don't know Tina. She don't know Serena by that name. I do not. She said I do not know her by that name. And so I got the wrong. She said I don't know her by that name. And so also too, C. Renee has a great point. She says that the proposal sets the stage for everything else. So, and then her last comment says, loving out loud is awesome.
Ooh, yes.
Absolutely. So very important. Hey, you all. So tonight we're talking about epic proposals, rules of engagement. And so be sure to put your answer to our first Speak Now question in the chat. Is it important that the proposal is a surprise? And if so, why? We are going to take a really brief commercial break, and we will be back with more rules for epic engagements right here on Before I Do. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back to Before I Do, where this episode we are talking about epic proposals, rules of engagement. So get your journals out, get your pens and paper. Here we are definitely going to release some tips about how to have the epic proposal and what the rules of engagement are. Now, we want to be clear that this is not designed to be a copycat situation. These are suggestions, and we're going to give you some examples of individuals that what we would define as an epic proposal. And when you think of something epic, it is something that is powerful, overwhelming, something that is unforgettable, something that is going to be engraved on the minds and the hearts of the individuals that experience it, right? So ideally, you want your proposal to be epic, but you also want it to be unique. You want it to be specific to your relationship and to the individual that it is meant to honor. So we're going to show you some examples of some epic proposals, but we're also going to offer some tips how you can help to craft your own. Absolutely. And please know that this is not about the money. And it's not about, your recipe is going to be germane and unique to you. All right, so we're ready. Let's get into it. Absolutely. So number one, you want to make sure that you're on the same page. Now, this should go without saying, but you want to make sure that before you propose to your future spouse, that you've had a conversation about marriage, that this is something that they actually want. And it's important to be sure that they are ready for marriage, that you all have talked about it in the past, that you all have at least discussed the idea of it. And so you also want to keep it broad enough in that so that they don't necessarily have an inclination of when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. But you do want to make sure that your spouse is on the same page with even wanting to get married. Don't think that you are going to overwhelm them into doing something that they do not want to do. That is not what you want when you talk about going into a marriage. You want it to be something that both of you all are looking forward to doing, that you're excited about, and that you both are willing to partner with on it. I just will comment on this picture right here. I'm just going to tell you. Now, obviously, they are on the same page in the sense that they both like running. They like doing 5Ks. But I will tell you, in 2023, I don't know. She is looking like she's happy that she's getting the proposal, but I look filthy. I look a hot mess. Could you have? Don't judge that lady. That may be what she. Because it's me. I'm like, I just finished running this race. I'm trying to get somewhere and lay down. I'm dirty. I need a shower. But everybody's different. Again, this is about you being specific, and so obviously for them, it's something that it definitely was epic to look at. And so, it's one of the things that make your relationship unique. Absolutely. Are we ready? Rule number 2. All right. So rule number 2, don't just buy a ring. Invest in it. Okay. And so this is an important thing because you're going to be wearing these rings you're going to be wearing forever, right? And so you're committing, I'm talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 decades to wear this ring. And so the first thing is when you invest in something so valuable, you want to make sure really you consider your spouse, right? Do they
What types of rings are they interested in? Is it going to be, comforting to their hand?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're not allergic. Hello, you'd be surprised how many stories we hear about allergens and being allergic. So just, invest in the ring. This is something that really is a symbol of your love. It doesn't mean that you have to overspend.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to go into so much debt. It just means consider the two of you and those rings. You want to make a great investment.
Yeah, and I want to say too, for all of the gentlemen out there that can become intimidated and overwhelmed by the idea of, I need to get a $10,000 ring and I got to say, it's not about that as much as it is about the whole idea of the proposal. The ring is a reflection of that you thought enough about her to be mindful of what type of ring was she like. What type of metal? You'll be surprised when you really do your homework as far as exactly what your potential spouse will like. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You probably going to have to do a little saving. I'm not saying that it's going to be cheap, but what we are saying is that it is important to see it as an investment. And it is something that allows you to really show your spouse that you are investing in them and that you're willing to spend money on them. Because you value them.
Now, should I tell our business a little bit?
You can. That's fine.
I'm going to tell our business all day, ladies and gentlemen. So my engagement ring. Well, first of all, Walter and I, we got an argument because we were talking about marriage or whatever. This was before he proposed to me, ladies and gentlemen, and families and friends. And then the next conversation, he's saying how modest his budget is, and things like that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
I was throwing off, y'all. I was throwing off the scent. It was all part of the plan.
Well, he messed up because the next conversation, he calls me talking about how he wants to put all these rims on his car. And I'm talking about willing to, rent some rims. And I think you were talking about spending about $2,000.
Probably about $2,000.
I guess, I went off and I'm like, believe me, whatever you putting on that car, it better, the equal amount or above better be on my finger.
It was all, everyone that's listening under the sound of my voice, it was all deflection and smoke and mirrors to throw her off. Absolutely.
Sure.
So we got a couple of comments. So again, regarding our first Speak Now question, should marriage, the proposal be a surprise? And Michelle says it should be planned as a surprise.
Ooh,
and absolutely.
A planned surprise.
Should be a planned surprise. Absolutely.
I like that because it definitely, thank you, Michelle. It reminds us that, it should be intentional. It should be, you have so many things to consider when you do that proposal. So absolutely.
Yeah. Curtis says one of the recommendations to make it epic is have it written in the sky or on a blimp or a jumbotron at a basketball game.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want it to be big. Now, keep in mind though that you want it to be big, but you also want it to be specific and unique to your spouse. So again, if your spouse isn't into basketball like that,
that's true.
And you have it at a basketball game, they may not care as much as you do. that is up on the jumbotron. So you want to make sure that it is specific to your relationship and to your spouse.
And I will say, even when we do personality profiles on our clients, we consider, is this person kind of outgoing or are they a little bit more intimate and private? Because, maybe, they prefer that quiet is just the two of us, that proposal versus a public proposal. So all of these things you have to take into mind. That last image we put up at the beach, the proposal at the beach where we talk about make the investment, that person chose to create sand art. So I don't know if you can see this, but in this image, it says, will you marry me? How many hours do you think it took that individual to do it themselves or to pay someone to create that type of sand art? And how much money do you think it took for them to have to block the beach off for them to be able to create this art?
Well, whether it was financial equity or sweat equity, the bottom line is that there was a significant investment that I'm sure that their partner appreciated when it comes to what it is that they were able to do.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to go into our second Speak Now question of the night, which is, have you ever seen or been a part of an epic proposal? And if so, what happened that would make you describe it as epic? And we actually have a couple of comments already that are in the chat. Miss Sandy says, my daughter's husband proposed to her during her grad school graduation party. All of her friends and family were there, and the gas and people grabbing their cameras was priceless. Yeah. So the emotional equity that was there, right? As far as with doing it at a special occasion like that. And we're going to get into talking about that a little next week when you discuss, is it appropriate to combine a proposal with certain special events? You got to be very careful of that, because again, you do want that proposal to stand alone, or stand in a way that is not going to conflict with whatever that other special event is. But if it can complement, absolutely.
I mean, hey, proposing to me at my graduation party, I'm cool with that, because I love it, because it almost is like, wow, you reached this major milestone, and now I want to start life with you. And I think a lot of women, especially women of today, really respect the fact that, okay, yeah, I accomplished and set out to accomplish my goal, and you were patient in that, and yeah, so I like that.
Yeah. So we also have a comment. Yeah, I wanted to skydive, but my boyfriend said, my man says no. So again, it's got to be something that ideally you both on agreement on, especially when you talk about skydiving. Yes. So I think that's our next adventure as well, is doing skydiving. But also,
but that's you, because you want to jump out of a plane.
Absolutely, yeah.
I say we can start baby steps. You can do the indoor skydiving.
No, we just don't. No, that's children.
Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna try that first.
And then our last comment from Koya P. Koya says, because I'm very introverted, I think it should be private.
Aww.
Absolutely, and nothing wrong with that at all. That is a part of understanding yourself, and again, it's an opportunity for your future spouse to show that they understand you as well, and knowing that you would want something that's private and intimate. Hey, everybody, again, we're talking about rules of engagement, epic proposals here on Before I Do. Our next Speak Now question that we're asking you to answer and put your comment in the chat is, have you ever seen or been a part of an epic proposal? What happened that would make you describe it as epic? I would describe our proposal as being epic.
It was definitely, I definitely think our proposal was epic.
I mean, you want to share with the people? Because
I will share. Yeah, First of all, I was proposed to.
And we're talking, just so you all know, we're talking about proposal number one, because there were two of them. There were two of them.
That's true, you did.
I sure did.
The first one was public, and the second was private. And I am a very private person as well. However, I'm a very family-oriented person as well, and so is Walter. So he actually proposed to me on my birthday, and my birthday happens to fall on Thanksgiving every few years. And so, yeah, he drove his entire family down, his mom, his dad, siblings, everyone, down to my house in West Palm Beach, Florida. And we all had Thanksgiving dinner together with my family. And then after dinner, right before dessert, I don't even know how. I just looked up and he was just on his knee, and my mom was making a whole fuss the weekend, and I'm just irritated. Like, why is she making such a big deal? Like, it's dinner, it's Thanksgiving dinner. But I didn't know at the time that all of this was intended to propose, and that's what he did. He got on one knee. He asked me to marry me in front of my parents, my siblings, and his family as well, and that meant everything to me, because having my dad's approval, and so it was amazing.
Absolutely. Listen, you all, you're tuned into Before I Do right here. We're talking about epic proposals. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of Before I Do tonight.
All right, welcome to Before I Do. And we're discussing epic proposals, rules of engagement. If you have ever had the opportunity to be a part of an engagement, to witness an engagement, it's an amazing experience. And so we want you to think about tonight what makes it epic, because there's so much that goes into planning a proposal.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into our next one. And so this one.
All right. So this tip is find and accept good help. Okay. Now, a proposal, again, you have to be intentional, right? And so you need to invite the right people into this process, okay? Because you will know the wrong people when you invite the wrong people, okay? So please find and accept good help. Invite the right people into your situation, meaning people who will keep this situation and experience about you and about your partner, you know, and so they will consider you. They will think about who the two of you are together. That is good help. And as you can see in this image of the roller coaster ride, this was an interesting proposal because he solicited good help, right? I mean, it takes some serious friendships to get on a roller coaster ride. They all had to pull these images out at the right time before that camera snapped. Yep. She doesn't even know she's being proposed to until she gets off the ride and sees the after roller coaster picture.
Yeah, and think about the planning and the coordination that has to happen in order to pull something like this off. And so it is important to make sure that you got good help and that recognizing too that depending on your proposal, you may not be able to pull it off by yourself.
That's right.
And so recognizing that although I have this great idea, I'm not going to be able to do it alone. And so who can I pull in to help me actually do this? And that is, I'll speak from a man's point really quick. For us, a lot of times in relationships and in marriages, we try to handle things on our own, whether it's emotionally, whether sometimes it's physically, even spiritually. Wow. But it's important for us to get good help, to say, hey, I need help. Hey, I need someone to partner with me on this. And then the most important part is making sure that you are asking the right people for that help. A lot of times we're going to the wrong people asking for the right things. And so it's very important that we pull in good help. And a proposal like this is a really good example of that, of how important it can be and beautiful it shows up when you do get the right help.
And we were really blessed because with our parents didn't try to take over. They didn't try to, like, you know, you said you had a really good experience with inviting both of our moms into the process.
Absolutely. So with the proposal for Charmaine, I actually, because it was during Thanksgiving, I knew that I was going to have to include her mother. And because we were going to be driving my family down, I knew I was going to need to pull in my mother. And so both of our mothers, once they got together, like I pretty much just had to make sure that the train stayed on the track, because again, they can be full on, and they were very excited about it. And again, as we'll talk about further, it's important not to relinquish control of the proposal as the individual that is issuing that, because that is also a foreshadowing of your marriage as well. This is your marriage. This is your proposal. And so the individuals that are there to help you. So them not dictating to you what needs to be done, but you actually directing them as to exactly what that help needs to look like.
You don't want the in-laws taking over or vice versa, or this being even an opportunity for conflict. This is your opportunity for leadership in that area and to really guide the process.
Yeah, and speaking of that help, C says that for the proposal that she had this past weekend, she says Fred had all the help. His siblings, his daughters, her daughter. Fred's daughter actually did a poem.
I know.
And she did a poem, and after the poem, that's when Fred got down on one knee to propose to Tina. And so it felt like everyone knew but her. And that's when you know you got it right. And that's part of the reason why you also want to keep that circle small, because the more people that you tell, the harder it is to keep a secret. So you want to make sure that you're including the right people that are going to help keep everything discreet. All right. So next one is you want to be flexible. All right. So things are going to happen, and it may not necessarily go the way that you exactly planned it to go. But this is an important part of embracing the uniqueness of the proposal. And again, it's also a foreshadowing of the wedding, and further than that, the marriage. Everything that you plan isn't going to necessarily go according to plan, but what is going to be your attitude as it relates to how you address the situation?
Absolutely. I love that fact, you know, because people go into marriages, I need everything to be perfect. Why? Why? Because is it going to be the perfection that everyone talks about in 10, 15 years? No, it's going to be sometimes it's the bloopers, it's the things that might not have gone so well that really brings character to the entire process.
And speaking of that, the picture that you have on here, that we have on here, is perfect because you got this great proposal. They're at the beach.
Sunset.
They've got the water behind them. The sun is just right. And then look at them getting splashed by a wave. And so here's the thing. This becomes a story. It becomes a unique experience that they're going to be able to tell down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, we have a great story. We have amazing stories about our wedding. And it wasn't funny at the time
at all.
But it was, again, when we told the story, when we tell the story after the fact, it is absolutely hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a part of learning how to do love and life together.
Absolutely.
Is being able to embrace those things, is to create the plan, deviate from it as needed, but to keep the right attitude and the right spirit as you're addressing it.
Absolutely. So I'm sorry, but I must say that it's, if you could record the sound effects from the proposal, it's those moments where it's like everyone is in sync and everyone is just I don't know, it's almost like a high off of this positive energy that is, that occurs when a person declares their love for another person. And I think it is specifically means and matters so much when you all as men do it. I mean, when you all put yourself in that position to be vulnerable, as that is strength. And so, men, I'm just going to tell you, it is a beautiful thing. It is a huge showcasing of your strength, of your power, of your, again, just for you to declare your love for your bride. It's a beautiful thing for you to say, I want you to have my last name, for you to say that I give this ring to you, for you to be so intentional about that process is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Now, some people will say, well, what about women proposing to men?
Well, that's a show and a topic for a whole nother night.
Yes.
But that is actually something that we're seeing a lot more in these contemporary times, are women proposing to men. And so that is a great question. We may have that as our Speak Now question of one of our Speak Now questions of the night next week, because we are going to need to do a part 2 to this.
Absolutely.
We got to do a
Stay
part.
tuned next week.
We got to do a part 2 to this. So be sure to tune in next week for Epic Proposals Part 2. Once again, congratulations to Fred and Tina on their proposal. Thank y'all so much for allowing us to be there and be a part of it. Everyone, be sure to like, share, and subscribe at couplesacademy.org. And also be sure to reach out to us for a session. If you are getting married, we specialize in premarital counseling.
Yes.
You want to help safeguard your marriage by ensuring you are having crucial and courageous conversations and learning how to develop tools and strategies for your marriage as you go into it. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
And this has been Before I Do. We'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.